Hi there, welcome to Maritime Punk. This week, I have Jason Lamb, who wrote an amazing book all about Canadian punkers, No Means No. Obscurity to Oblivion is the name of it. So let's take a deeper dive into this. Jason, can you tell me a
Cool.
bit about your experience as a writer even before this book?
Well, I really didn't have any experience as a
Yeah,
writer before this book, to be honest with
this
you.
was the
I mean,
big premiere.
this is the only, yeah, the one and only book I've ever written. I mean, I have a history doing stand-up comedy and being in radio and stuff, so I guess I've written jokes and I'm a pretty good email writer. But this is my first ever like foray
Yeah.
into actual book writing. Yeah.
There's a lot of positive reviews. Do you think your comedy background lent itself to maybe adding that lighter edge to the book where people could really relate and it wasn't just like a straight documentary read?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I think so. I think so. And the book is an oral history, so it wasn't really a whole lot of actual writing. It was more compiling, right? Like I just interviewed a whole lot of people and then just cut it all up and put it all
Mm,
together with the help of my buddy Paul. And I think my experience with joke writing and being on the radio helped in the sense of keeping it tight and keeping it
mm,
not rambly, keeping it short and sweet. And I do enjoy a sense of humor, which No Means No is really well known for anyway. So I wanted the book to be funny. Like there is a lot of really
mm.
funny stuff in the book and some other serious stuff too, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I think that experience definitely helped me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you really took a deep dive way further than just the four members of the band. Was it difficult tracking down all these people that you spoke with, or were people just kind of pointing you in every direction and you just ran with it?
That's exact Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I knew from the very beginning, basically, that I wanted to do the oral history style. And so once I got the green light from the guys in the band, it became like I sort of had a list. I had a list of maybe like 20 or 30 people that I thought, okay, I should talk to all these people. Obviously the four guys from the band and
Mm,
their manager and their live sound guy and maybe some of their family members and the problem is it became pretty apparent pretty quickly that the list was going to be a lot longer than that because every time I talked to somebody, they would say, "Oh, well, you should really talk to so and so and this person and that person." And it just like every time I would interview someone, it just led to more and more people. So I realized pretty quickly I either had to talk to everybody or nobody. And so,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I did. I haven't actually. I should probably count it properly, but I think it was pretty close to 500 people
Really.
when all was said and done. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
So,
it was crazy.
so what was it about No Means No that inspired you to write a book about them? What, are you kind of a lifer fan?
Totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that was really it. Is just I'm a huge fan of the band. They're my favorite band. Have been since the '80s when I first started to go to see them perform live here in my hometown, and which is also their hometown. And there's a guy named Mark Black had done a book back in 2012, I think, called Going Nowhere, which was a good little book, but it was literally a very small book. It was there's no pictures in it. It was like
Mm,
um, a little bit of a fan perspective and then some actual history of the band, and it was cool for what it was. But I was like, I want to see a proper anthology of the band, like with all because I knew that there was photos and posters, and they had a 35-year career, so there must be much more out there. So I that was the inspiration was just like they're my favorite band, and
mm.
I wanted to write a book that I wanted to see, that I would buy, that actually covered everything. And because they were so mysterious and coy and kind of weird when they were around, I thought it would be cool to actually uncover all the truth,
Yeah.
which I mostly did, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reaction from the band members when you kind of sent them a copy and they read it and looked at it? What were some of the things they
Well,
were saying?
well, that's an interesting question because one of the things early on I said to all four of them was like, I'm not going to put out anything that's like super personal or gossipy or whatever, and you guys can all see the different drafts of it as I go through. I can send you guys all the stuff, And if there's any issues, if you have any problems with some of the stuff in there, we can talk about it, and I can take it out or change it.
Hmm.
I have no problem with that, because I don't want to. They're my favorite band. I
Yeah.
didn't want to upset them. And the whole point of them saying yes was sort of on condition that, yeah, they would have some sort of editorial control, but it didn't really end up being a bit of any big issue. Um, I sent them all drafts as we were going, but Andy, their first guitar player, was really the only one who kind of read it. The other guys were like, "Oh, whatever." I
Yeah.
don't know.
Looks good to me.
So yeah, a little bit of indifference, I guess. I mean, they're all of them were really amazing guys to like talk to, and they gave they're all very honest, and
Hmm.
gave me a lot of their time and everything else. But when it came to actually like reading it, they didn't really get to it until it was actually they've all read it now that it's out. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I kind of there was a few things where I was like, "Are you sure you're okay with me putting this in?" "Oh yeah, it's fine, whatever."
Yeah.
And they seem to be happy with it now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. Now, on your
Yeah.
journey in discovery and trying to piece things together, were there any things that kind of surprised you? Some things that you, as a fan, were kind of like, "Whoa, this is so cool that I'm actually unearthing some
Yeah.
of this info or artifacts and old band
Yeah.
memorabilia."
It happened a lot, and there's many examples of stuff that I learned that I had no idea. A lot of the really early stuff, about their beginnings in Victoria and their family history and stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know why Andy left the band. Really, there was there was sort of most people were like, "Oh well, he met a woman and moved to Amsterdam to be with her," and that was true, but there was a lot more to it than that.
Mhm.
um and then, like, as far as like just surprises, like yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. There were so many things, like memorabilia you mentioned. Like, people were sending me stuff. They still do. I mean, I'm still getting stuff that I haven't seen before,
Mhm.
even though the book's out already. Just thousands and thousands of posters and photos that were, either emailed to me or sent in the mail to me. And um, all the interviews those guys did with European zines back in the 80s and 90s. Uh, the stuff they said no to along the way, some of it surprised me, like Lollapalooza, and like major record labels that wanted to sign them, and they just said, nope, we're not interested. Um, and learning sort of why they were like that. Part of it was, most of it was integrity and wanting to do things on their own, and Rob in particular wanting to always have control over what they were doing without having to answer to any mucky mucks in the music industry. But there was also some missed opportunities that they probably would have been wise to say yes to,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't have been bad. It wouldn't have been selling out, and it would have helped their career without them looking like they
Sold their
sacrificed any
soul.
integrity for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there was lots of surprises all the way through. And also, I guess one of the biggest surprises was how many people love No Means No in the world, like fans, um, all over the world, but also people that went on to really successful music careers themselves, like big rock stars who love this band inside and out and really know their shit. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I got
And
to I got a hold of most of those people, but not all of them.
in your career in broadcasting and radio, have you ever done anything related to punk music? Your love of punk rock?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, my main full time job is on a morning show. Up until recently, although that's a whole other story. But I'm still working at the Zone at 91.3, which is a commercial radio station here in Victoria. It's a modern rock station. And I started in 2010. Um, I did a thing called the Punk Show on the Zone. It started off online, but they promoted it on the air for me, and then it ended up going on the air.
Hmm.
They gave me a Friday midnight slot, but it was really cool because they gave me an hour of like commercial radio time, with no censorship and no ads, so I could
Hmm.
play whatever I want, and there was no corporate, you know, sort of vibe to it at all. And I did that show, for, yeah, about 13 years.
Wow.
Um, with a couple of breaks here and there. It's on hiatus right now because of the book stuff's just taking up too much of my time, but it was really cool. I will bring it back again probably later this year. But I got to play whatever I wanted. Obviously, I
Hmm.
always tried to promote local Victoria bands, past and present, and then international stuff. Loved doing interviews, and I did hundreds of interviews during those years, including with some of the No Means No guys. So that was helpful because I had a little bit of a connection to them already, and also it
Yeah.
helped. I had the experience doing interviews. So, and that's what this book was all about, was interviews, hundreds of them. So
Yeah.
I already had the skill set to do them. I was fairly confident as an interviewer by that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, I love the punk show, and I want to bring it back because it also got me like media passes to,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, festivals and, punk rock bowling and Rebellion Fest
Mhm.
and all this really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta love the perks.
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you have any other book ideas, or is this kind of like a one-off? You just wanted to hit the No Means No thing, or is this something that maybe it'll lead into something else?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the whole experience and the whole process. It was, really hard work, and it took close to 4 years total. Really about 2.5 of years of really intense work. Um, but I loved it. I did it because they're my favorite band. So now that it's out and it's getting good response and reviews, yeah, like I'd be open to doing another one of some kind. I don't know what I would do it on. I mean, I have a couple ideas that I don't really want to um, get out there yet in
Yeah.
case somebody steals my idea. But yeah, I mean, it was a really cool experience, and I think I learned a lot of lessons. So if I did it again, I would do it better, or
Yeah.
easier, I should say, because I made a lot of mistakes along the way. But um, yeah, it was really cool. I learned a lot. Now I know how the book industry works and publishing and stuff.
Exactly.
It's pretty wild.
That's awesome. Well, that was Jason Lamb, author of From Obscurity to Oblivion, a must-have for punk rock music fans. Thanks for chatting, and all the best in the future.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Okay, take care.
You too.